What if a little bakery baked more than just bread? What if it baked kindness itself? Tonight, discover the magic of the Moonlight Bakery and the special bond between a grandmother and her granddaughter. In a village, nestled among rolling hills, there was a tiny bakery that only opened its doors when the moon was high in the sky. Its windows glowed with a soft, warm light, and the sweet scent of fresh pastries would drift through the evening air, inviting everyone to come closer. This was the Moonlight Bakery, run by the kind and gentle Grandma Clara. She was famous throughout the village, not just for her delicious bread and cakes, but for the special ingredient she added to every single treat: a little bit of kindness. Her granddaughter, a small and curious girl named Sophie, loved spending her evenings in the bakery. She would stand on a little stool, her hands covered in flour, and help her grandmother with every task. Sophie was always full of questions. "Grandma," she would ask, her eyes wide with wonder, "how does your bread make people so happy? What's your secret?" Grandma Clara would always smile, her face crinkling at the corners. "It's kindness, my dear," she'd reply gently. "Every loaf we bake carries a little bit of love, a little bit of warmth, for those who need it most." Sophie would nod, even if she didn't fully understand. She loved the feeling of the warm dough in her hands, and the thought that she was helping spread happiness. One night, something truly special happened. As Sophie and Grandma Clara were kneading dough, a soft, silvery light began to fill the bakery. It seemed to pour in through the windows, making the flour-dusted counters shimmer and dance. Sophie looked up and saw that the moon was brighter than she had ever seen it before, hanging like a giant pearl in the night sky. "Grandma," Sophie whispered, her voice filled with awe, "the bakery. It feels magical tonight." Grandma Clara nodded slowly, her eyes twinkling. "The Moonlight Bakery has a way of showing us that when we give kindness freely, without expecting anything in return, that kindness grows stronger and shines brighter." Just then, the little bell above the door jingled softly. A small boy named Tommy peeked inside, his shoulders slumped and his eyes looking sad. He shuffled his feet nervously. I don't have any bread for my family tonight," he said so quietly, it was almost a whisper. Without a moment's hesitation, Grandma Clara reached for a freshly baked loaf, still warm from the oven, and handed it to him. Sophie watched as Tommy's face, which had been so downcast, lit up with a brilliant smile. He clutched the bread as if it were a treasure, and in that moment, Sophie saw it. The magic wasn't just in the shimmering moonlight, it was in the simple, powerful act of giving. It was in the warmth of the bread, and the even warmer smile on her grandmother's face. Over the next few nights, more villagers came to the Moonlight Bakery, each with a small trouble weighing on their hearts. Mrs. Poppy, who was heartbroken after losing her beloved cat, received a sweet pastry shaped like a heart, along with a little note of hope that Grandma Clara had written. Old Mr. Finley, who lived alone and often felt lonely, was given a warm apple pie and a gentle, comforting hug from Sophie. Each time someone left with a smile, Grandma Clara would whisper to Sophie, "Kindness, my dear, spreads just like light. Even a small, simple act can brighten the darkest of nights." Sophie began to understand. Baking wasn't just about mixing flour and water. It was about mixing in love, care, and a little bit of joy into every single bite. The bakery was more than a shop. It was a beacon of hope in their quiet village. But one evening, a problem arose. The moon, usually so bright and watchful, hid behind a thick blanket of dark clouds. The bakery's familiar glow dimmed, and the air felt heavy. A little fear crept into Sophie's heart. "Grandma," she asked worriedly, tugging on her apron, "what if the bakery loses its magic? What if the moon doesn't come back?" Grandma Clara stopped what she was doing and took Sophie's small flowery hands in her own. She looked into her granddaughter's eyes with a comforting smile. "Oh, my dear," she said softly, "the magic doesn't come from the moon. It comes from our hearts. The moonlight just helps us see it more clearly. As long as we keep showing kindness, as long as we keep sharing what we have, this bakery will always, always shine." Sophie felt a wave of relief wash over her. The magic wasn't outside. It was inside them. The very next night, the clouds parted, and the moon returned, bathing the village in its beautiful, silvery glow. To celebrate, Sophie and Grandma Clara invited the entire village to the bakery. It was a wonderful celebration. The little shop was filled with laughter and cheerful chatter as everyone shared stories, warm treats, and, most importantly, kindness. People who had received a pastry one night were now offering to help their neighbors. The villagers discovered that kindness was contagious. When one person gave, another was inspired to follow. The bakery glowed brighter than it ever had before, not just from the moon, but from the collective warmth of the community's heart. Sophie hugged her grandmother tightly and whispered, "I think I understand now, Grandma. The real magic isn't just flour and moonlight. It's love, shared with others." Grandma Clara smiled, her eyes twinkling just like the stars. "Exactly, my dear," she said. "And so, little dreamers, remember this story tonight. Kindness is the sweetest and most powerful magic of all. A helping hand, a warm smile, or sharing a small piece of what you have can light up even the darkest night and make the world a little brighter. Perhaps tonight, if you look closely, you'll find a little bit of that magic shining in your own heart. Perhaps tonight, if you look closely, you'll find a little bit of that magic shining in your own heart." Thanks for listening.